There's no real reason for me to introduce you to Five Nights at Freddy's. Everybody knows what it is. Its community is probably the biggest gaming community in the world. And with tens of millions of people being in this community, obviously some of those people are gonna not be the best kinds of people. So today, I thought we'd take a look at some of the worst people within this community. Before this video begins, I obviously have to thank you for the massive support that my channel's been getting. As of the time I'm recording, we are well over 2,000 subscribers, and my biggest video has over 115,000 views. I never thought that we'd grow this fast. It's insane. So truly, just thank you all. But with all that out of the way, thank you for clicking on this video, and let's begin. If you are at all familiar with the term Five Nights at Freddy's VHS tape, then you most likely know who this person is, or have at least seen one of his videos or clips of one of them. Squimpus McGrimpus was a Five Nights at Freddy's VHS tape content creator who basically made the entire genre popular. Now, there were Fnaf VHS tapes that came out before him, but he was the one that really took it off the edge, having his most popular video get over 10 million views. He was absolutely blowing up, and very popular YouTubers were reacting to his videos, and he seemed like he was going to be the next giant when it came to content creation. Until... For those unaware, Squimpus McGrimpus is a popular content creator most well known for the Five Nights at Freddy's VHS tape series of videos. On March 17th of 2023, an anonymous person using a burner account posted a thread on Twitter in which they revealed that Squimpus had confessed on a private server that they had exchanged NSFW artwork with someone that they were aware was underage for several years, knowing entirely that it was wrong. And on March 17th, 2023, Squimpus released a statement verifying that the information from above was correct. Due to the nature of this, we will not be allowing discussion of the situation outside of this thread. Use the comments below to discuss. Now look, I don't know how it is for other people, but in my personal experience, it has not really been difficult for me to not talk to somebody that was underage.
Ungrateful boy! Rotten boy!
But hey, you know, everyone's different, so maybe that's just me. The way that Squimpus had described it made it seem like he was texting somebody at 14 when he was like 17, and struggled a little bit to stop, which definitely isn't okay and you need to get your shit together, but it was way worse than he set it out to be. Apparently this dude was texting 16-year-olds when he was like over 20. Now, whether it's because I might have mommy issues or something else, I usually find myself being attracted to much older women, but like that never put a hinder on me talking to somebody my age, even though my preferral was somebody like 10 years older. Even if you have the inclination to talk to younger people, not only can you get help for that, which you didn't even try to freaking do. This thread specifies that Squimpus did have the opportunity to be talking to adults, so it seems like he literally targeted this kid. Which, like, why? Obviously, it's dumb to try to understand what makes a person like this. This is obviously the product of somebody who is just severely porn-brained, but it's still just so confusing to me because it's just such an avoidable situation. Like, is it seriously so hard for you to not talk to kids that even when you're in a Discord server full of other kinky adults, you still go out of your way to map out the 16-year-old? Like, that's so insane to me. Now, I don't know what kind of reaction I'm gonna get out of people by saying this, but I wouldn't go as far as to say that Squimpus is like an unforgivable monster. It really just seemed like he was a dumbass creep. It does seem like he genuinely wants to get help, and I definitely think he should. When I usually think of monster, I usually think of like EDP445. Like, that dude was insane.
He sent a picture of his shit? He sent a picture of his shit? He's sending shit pics. He also sent his dick. Yeah, but that's not nearly as cool as a shit pic.
The situation is just so confusing to me. Like, as I said earlier, I have a preferral of older women, but if somebody closer to my age, like 19 or 20, walks up to me and asks me for my number, I'm not gonna say, hey, listen, Toots, I'm gonna go over to the 42-year-old with 2 kids from across the room, and you can go kick rocks. Like, nobody's gonna do that, so I don't understand how he could be in a situation where he is surrounded by consensual adults, where he could have NSFW, legal conversations with other adults, and still gun for the minor. Now that I think about it, forget what I said earlier, this guy was really f***ed up. I do genuinely hope he gets help because he definitely needs it, but even after he does, I don't think it's a very good idea for you to ever show your face again on the internet.
Well, you know what? I'm bisexual, so yes, I am gay as fuck.
Now, unlike Squimpus McGrimpus, where there's only really a handful of people who remember the day that his drama dropped, Everybody remembers when this happened. Buckle up, boys, because oh my god, it is a doozy. LadyFiszi is basically the we don't talk about Bruno of the Fnaf community. And at this point, I don't even care what your politics are. If you look at what LadyFiszi was doing, she was like actually insane. I can understand if you maybe never heard of LadyFiszi, but if you're at all engaged with the Fnaf community, then you've definitely seen her artwork. She was the one who did the official art for the Twisted Ones, almost all the books, and I'm pretty sure the entirety of the Silver Eyes graphic novel, but I could be wrong. And apparently, the person who did all this artwork, LadyFiszi, was a I am not going to be able to show a sliver of what I just said, but I'm pretty sure that I'll be able to break it down without being too vulgar. So basically the entire drama revolved around some of the Fnaf community doing a background check on LadyFiszi and figuring out that she had a little bit of a interest in Germany. Specifically Germany in the 30s and 40s. And she also wrote fanfic for you fanfic lovers out there. Wait, what the f*** is this? So basically her entire background check was full of Nazism and China. Which, you know, I guess some people just get goofy sometimes. On a more serious note, this is why you have to do background checks on the people you hire, especially when the franchise that you're hiring people to work for has a community that has a population of a lot of minors. And even more especially when the person that has done the official artwork has referenced their weird fan fiction within the official artwork that you put in your books that is later sold to children. I don't understand how you fumble the ball like this. How doth one fuck up this badly? What are the chances that the person that you choose just for your artwork turns out to be a literal Nazi pedophile? Now, it wasn't Scott who pointed this out even though he personally hired her. It was the fan base doing investigation on her background. And the second that they found this out, if you were on social media at this time, it was literally just jumping out at your face. People were jumping on Scott's ass to fire Fizzy immediately for this background. And he eventually responded, but so did she. I'm gonna read out her apology first because it is really long and Scott's is a lot shorter. But if you don't want to sit through the entire monologue, just skip to this timestamp where I'll just be explaining it in short terms. Hi all, I didn't really want to make this apology because it felt like giving it for the haters, but our conversation with Recharged helped me realize that it is not for the haters, but for the innocent people who I hurt with my ignorance and denial. You may know that in the past, I made some really ignorant and uneducated comments about gender identities and trans people, which really upset and angered a lot of people. I just want to make it clear I don't hate trans people. I think everyone is unique and has every right to be who or what they are. Part of the reasons for my comments is because of where I live. Trans people isn't very common or well known, so Muller folk don't really know what a homosexual is, and I had no idea on why it's such a big deal at the time. But some people explained it to me and I understood. What I said wasn't okay, and I'm sorry for all my remarks. I was in a really bad state at the time I said those things, mostly dealing with my mental and physical health. I have Crohn's disease for 14 years now, and I reached a new low at the beginning of the year. It messed me up both emotionally and mentally. I even didn't realize how hurtful my words were at the time. That said, what I said back then wasn't okay, even with the explanation, and I'm very sorry for that. I apologize for not doing this as soon as I could. I brushed it off thinking it wasn't a big deal until I got out of hand. I didn't know what to do at the time, but just ignore it, and that too was a mistake. You have the right to be critical of me even with my apology, but I need to put my foot down over the way some people have been treating me over this. I've been getting witch hunted, harassed, provoked to say more transphobic things. I'm very easy to provoke, especially when I'm in that miserable state because of my illness, and even had people telling me to take my own life. It didn't happen here as I recall, but it happened several times on DeviantArt and DMs. While I'm okay with people criticizing me, what I wasn't okay with is the nasty responses I was getting. I was wrong in saying the things that I said, but to the people who have been harassing me like this, please stop. I have received death threats over my fan fiction that I wrote many years ago involving my version of Purple Guy long before we knew much about him. It was around the time of Fnaf 4, and I was a very different person back then. I couldn't finish the story because my thoughts on how I see the characters have changed because of the things that happened in my personal life. I don't remember the exact details because I don't usually reread my stuff, being stories, journals, or comments, but I admit, I got really carried away to show how twisted my version of Purple Guy is. It had some sexual undertones, but no actual scenes where Purple Guy does a child. It still wasn't appropriate since many of my fans are young, and it would be a very different story if I'd wrote it today. Another thing that I need to clear up is a lot of people were under the impression that I made FNAF porn involving Markiplier. That wasn't me. It was a different furry artist. I won't give details for obvious reasons, but if you're interested, I can message you the details. The piece in question is not on DeviantArt, but on Fur Affinity, by the way. I did draw FNAF porn before. This is insane. But I removed those images back in 2016 when Scott asked me to work with him. It was an experimental phase. Yeah, guys, LadyFiszi was just drawing freaking porn because she was just feeling goofy, right? She was just curious. I saw several arts with humanized FNAF characters involved in adult situations on Tumblr, and I wanted to try it. That said, none of mine involved children, even though the characters that you're freaking doing art of are animatronics that are possessed by children, but whatever. The one with Fredbear was meant to be an adult, obviously. If you saw the piece in question, you didn't came after me after hearing something about it. Fredbear was making my version of Purple Guy feel a similar kind of pain that he did to his victims, which are the other animatronics, including Springtrap, like mangling Mangle, cutting off Bonnie's face, etc. It wasn't appropriate still. I'm not trying to cover up my mistakes, it's just that there's things that I no longer support or stand for. I'm certain that mirrors for my stuff still exist out there, and I don't force anybody to take them down. The only thing I ask is to not bring this up to me again and just have it to haunt me. You can criticize and make fun of my old stuff if you want, but please never shove it in my face and tell me, never forget that you made this. Also, I barely remember what I wrote months ago. I don't even remember stories I wrote years ago, except for one or two, especially in that mental state, so please don't bring up small details and aggressively question me about them. Long story short, I am sorry for the mistakes I made, and I will try not to repeat them again in the future. I shouldn't tell in the first place to people what to think or who to be. It doesn't hurt me or anyone, but makes them happy. So it was very wrong and selfish of me to try to control them. It seems like she's doing this thing to where she's saying that she's taking accountability, but then immediately is acting like she's not going to take her accountability. Like she'll say, you have the right to criticize me and you have the right to call out what I did, but then you'll also say that like, don't ever talk to me about it again. Also, why wouldn't people harass you? You took people's like favorite freaking video game and made borderline about it. Like, what are you talking about? And she says stuff like, oh, well, he didn't actually do anything to any of the kids. Bro, they were like calling him daddy and shit. Regardless, this did not stop the riot on Twitter that was trying to get Scott Coffin to fire LadyFiszi, and this is when he posted this. Hi everyone, I won't write much on this here, but I will say that LadyFiszi no longer does artwork for Five Nights at Freddy's. Sexual scenarios involving children are disgusting or grotesque in any form, including fan art and fan fiction, and have no place in Five Nights at Freddy's universe. It is my understanding that she regrets this time in her life, and I wish her the best going forward. I don't know, man, this entire situation is just super weird. She made a post on DeviantArt making fun of people who were calling her a neo-Nazi, which, like, you were making posts that were glorifying them, so I don't know why you would, like, be bothered by them calling you that. Regardless, this was a long time ago, and I don't think we're gonna ever see her face anytime soon.
You know, I'm not religious, but like if there was a hell, Kane Carter will burn for eternity.
So, unlike most of the people on this list being pedophiles or neo-Nazis, Theft King is different. He's not necessarily evil, but he is a bitch. You know the kind of parent that brings a crying baby into a movie theater? Well, Theft King is not only the parent, but he's also the f***ing baby. And I guess it fits because he had literally gotten popular from complaining. And when I mean he complained, I mean he complained a lot. Like, at this point, I don't even know why you run a FNAF channel. You seemingly hate FNAF, dude. But I'm not here to talk about the beginning of Theft King. I'm not going to talk about how he got mad at people being happy that LadyFiszi was leaving the community. What the fuck? I'm here to mostly talk about his drama with Kane Carter. Now, I'm assuming that most people, when they hear about Theft King and Kane Carter, they get like a Winter Soldier moment where their eyes roll to the back of their head and they just start violently shaking. Because this was an absolute dumpster fire of a situation. And I was smack dab in the middle of it. I used to go into Theft King's streams while this drama was happening and talk to him about the drama within his chat. His live streams were small enough at this time where he could talk to people individually, so that's how I got the chance to do that. Basically, this is how it started. Theft King was known as a drama FNAF YouTuber. Being a drama FNAF YouTuber at this time was kind of a niche thing to do. It wasn't super popular. At this time in the community, most of the YouTubers that were covering FNAF were basically on their knees for FNAF at this point.
Where's my blowy? But
So to see a FNAF YouTuber rise to popularity as he is talking shit about the community and the games, it was pretty surprising. But people didn't necessarily have a problem with him because he was complaining. People had a problem with him because he was basically lying. If you were in the FNAF community a few years ago, you would know about the Five Nights at Freddy's Fanverse initiative. Although this project is still up and running, and most people are seemingly still excited about it, this project is no stranger to really bad drama. And Theft King was obviously no stranger to being involved within that drama. There was a situation that happen with a certain game creator that was going to be involved with the initiative that I'm not going to mention, because then I would feel like I would have to go through that entire situation and this freaking video would be like 3 hours long. After this situation, this would cause the person that was going to be making the game within the initiative to be exiled from the project. This would not injure the entirety of the FFI at all, but Theft King, being the little rascal rat that he is, decided that that was going to be the end of the Fazbear initiative, or at least he wanted to make us think that. He would make this video. Now I could be completely wrong about this, but what I remember and what most of the community remembers, and it would also line up with the entirety of how this drum started, the title did not originally have a question mark. This thumbnail and title was trying to get you to believe that the entirety of the Fazbear Fanverse initiative was going to be cancelled. This video would blow up and make a lot of people going to Twitter and like mourn the death of the initiative, which it wasn't going anywhere. Somebody who was making one of the games within the Fazbear Fanverse initiative saw this and decided that he was going to say something about it and give everybody closure. That person was Kane Carter. Now, Kane Carter had made a tweet before this video had dropped talking about how Scott will most likely not take any other applications for the Fazbear Fanverse initiative after all the drama that has happened. But the problem was that people were thinking that the initiative was cancelled, not that it was ending. All of the original entries for the Fnaf Fanverse initiative would still be released, it just wouldn't get any more games. Kane would later go on to gripe about the thumbnail and title that Theft King had used for his Fanverse initiative video, but that wouldn't be the purpose of the tweet. Kane Carter would only lightly gripe about Theft King's video within the thread of his own post. Theft King would take this personally and believe that the entire post was basically just about him and not what Kane Carter had said on his own behalf. Theft King would reach out directly to Kane Carter within Discord DMs, talking about how he was really surprised that Kane Carter had took his video so personally, and how he was still really excited for Kane Carter's Fanverse video game, that being Pop Goes Evergreen. And he basically missed the entire purpose of Kane Carter's tweet, because the tweet was not about Theft King. Theft King made it about Theft King. Regardless, Kane Carter ended up responding to Theft King's original Discord message with this: "The content of your video was fine. I never made a comment on what you said in the video itself. And in my own community, I actually complimented how you laid it out and how you used my comments from the stream. I thought it was a clever idea. My only gripe was with the title and thumbnail, which gives an awful, unfair impression of the Fanverse. Anyone who sees that message from a channel with as much credit as yours would assume that some kind of news has broken out that the Fanverse itself has come to an end. It hasn't. It obviously hasn't, and you know it hasn't. You know it's not a goodbye to the Fanverse. You still had it in the thumbnail because it's attention grabbing. I despise this choice that you have made for your channel, and it is a choice. My tweet also wasn't just for your video, it was also for the dozens of people who seemed disappointed or betrayed by what I said in an earlier tweet. It's possible Scott won't accept any new entries. I'm sure you can tell by this point that I'm desperate to maintain the Fanverse's image. I am a voluntary spokesperson for the initiative, and I feel I have a responsibility, as the most active member, to clear up misinformation and keep the community happy, excited, and satisfied. You clearly do not feel this responsibility. Even though you feel you have simply mirrored information I've told you for this latest video, do you think I would ever sum up my experience as the end of the Fazbear Fanverse at all? In any circumstance, ever? I apologize for any harassment you may have received from my community. This is not something I've ever allowed. Tell me who is involved in that and I will cast them out of my circles. Simple as that. Otherwise, to be as blunt as possible, just get on with what you're doing. You just said my videos have all been extremely well received, including this latest one. So did all the things I said even affect your channel? It seems like you just didn't like them. And at a certain point, you'll just have to ignore those feelings, learn, and carry on. You'll die of stress if you keep fretting over every single bit of feedback. Theft King would never reply to this response of King Carter, and for good reason. I guess I wouldn't either, because King Carter kind of slapped him around with his point. And it seemed like the dust was starting to clear. Until this happened. A YouTube channel called Cheap Rampage would make a video called Why the Fanverse Initiative Failed, and the reason it's not up on screen right now is because now the title is different to The Problem with the Fazbear Fanverse Initiative. After seeing the title of this video, Kane Carter would tweet this: Popco's Arcade releases on Steam with a 98% rating. Funko and U2's merch out this year. Nixon is allowed to work on the Joy of Creation again. Fiznom with plenty of FNAF Plus new dev updates, and every FNAF YouTube in the world. The Fanverse is a failure. Scott failed us. The initiative is doomed. Fuck you, bitch. Why you always got something negative to say? Theft King would then make the entire situation about him again. He would quote tweet King Carter saying that these videos are postmortems on an initiative, a program, an idea. reflecting on the fanverse and some of its issues. It isn't an attack on Kane or any other fanverse dev. I worry that Kane takes his stuff too personally. Fanverse observations aren't critiques of Kane / Popgo / etc. People would poke fun at Theft King within the comments of his own tweet that would then make Theft King DM King Carter directly to tell him that he was being harassed. I mean, are you a bitch or are you a bitch, bro? Theft King would then make a video called An Open Letter to Kane Carter, which was a 6-minute, very short video where he basically just manipulates his entire fan base into thinking that Kane Carter was just some douchey liar who never responded to Theft King's DMs, which obviously isn't true as I've shown you. Kane Carter, being the troll that he is, made a tweet talking about how he was going to apologize to Theft King. He had showed a link to a video, and when you clicked on the video, it was a Rickroll with Freddy's face on it. This would piss Theft King off so badly. By the way, I just want to make it clear before I talk about this, Theft King is a man who is in his 30s, to where he would make a live stream called I Can't Even, and the thumbnail would be a picture of Foxy saying enough. This stream would be 5 hours of Theft King bitching about Kane Carter. I'm not even joking, 5 hours. And an extremely large portion of it would be Theft King trying to throw in loopholes with logic in an attempt to try to manipulate his audience into thinking that Kane Carter was ignoring him. Kane would then post on his alt account making fun of Theft King while he was watching his stream, because he had posted this while Theft stream was happening, saying, "Why are you pretending to cry on stream? We cleared this up 3 months ago." Proving with a screenshot that Theft King was lying about Kane Carter ignoring him. Kane would not only prove Theft King wrong in the middle of his stream, mention him within his tweet, but then also donate to his live stream and embarrass him from his entire audience, which is where we got this legendary clip.
What?
Hello?
Hey man, keep your chin up. You should check out the latest tweet by @LostPopGoes. It's important.
Are you kidding me, dude? Are you kidding? Do you really think this is the fucking venue for this? I DM'd you. I'm begging you to fucking speak to me. I've been begging you. And you've just been ignoring me. I didn't do anything. I've been ignoring you. And now you come in private. I'm trying to resolve this in private. And then you come in my fucking live stream and do a donation. Are you serious? Are you kidding me, dude? Do you know how unfair a position that is to put me in? Are you Wow, dude. Wow. 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 Wow, dude. Okay, now you want to talk to me? You know what? Yes, because I'm so fucking desperate for this to be over. I'm so fucking desperate for you to stop weaponizing your audience against me over a video that fucking Sheep Rampage made, that I'm gonna end this fucking stream and look at this message that you said, because I'm that, even though I don't want to, because I think what you just did is fucked up, I'm gonna do it anyway because that's how fucking desperate I am, in the hopes that maybe this can be finally fucking over.
Again, I want to be clear. This guy's over 30 years old. He's also talking about Kane Carter's audience being weaponized to harass Theft King, which that is the biggest form of self-projection I've ever seen in my entire life. But it wouldn't be very long before Theft King fired up another public live stream.
My god, Kane, this is not that complicated. It's not everything is about you. Okay? I have to defend myself from all of your fans now, not just you, and a lot of them, the same fans who took your tweet, which as you yourself said, wasn't even about me, quote unquote, it was about Sheep Rampage, and then they started going cough cough Theft King, they all started harassing me, and you did nothing to stop them. That's disgusting. I don't care if it's my worst enemy. If I know I could do something as effortless as send a tweet, and it would stop someone from getting harassed, or at least reduce some of the amount of harassment they would get, I would do it in a heartbeat. I think all of us would. I think if you wouldn't do that, what kind of person wouldn't do that? A sick fuck. You know. Ruins my mom's fucking day. I'm not crying. Ruins my mom's fucking day. Because I'm so stressed, I ruined my mom's fucking day. Yeah, of course I'm upset about all of this. And honestly, let's be real, Kane's like an idea guy. He's like, not even really a programmer.
Hello?
Like the art, dislike the artist's actions. My opinion.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I wouldn't call Kane an artist, more like a musician who wrangles people into making games. Somehow. Kind of like Ultra Knight, actually. Very similar to Ultra Knight. The truth is, Fnaf claims that he got the FNAF Plus position because he told Scott about what the flaws of all the FNAF fan games. I think he really got that position because Scott fucking felt bad for him. Guys, like, I already won. My video already kicks ass.
There would go on to be other like half-assed apologies by Theft King, but the drama would basically dry out after that. That's gonna be the ending of the video. I know this one was kind of different, but I did really want to make this video because I think it's like, you know, really interesting to just see like the bad eggs within the community, and also just bring more and more awareness to those people in case they ever come back. Theft King is still pretty popular. He still gets like averages like over 100k views of video, which to be honest is kind of disappointing because of how shitty he is as a person, but you know what, whatever. Anyway, thank you for the massive support my channel's been getting as always. Hopefully this video does well and I don't just go bankrupt after this, and I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.